Vivian Dong. Thank you.
Councilmember Ducker.
Thank you, Mayor. I've known Janet for quite some time. We worked together on the Tourism Advisory Committee, also the Tax Advisory, so we've been in quite a few meetings over a couple of years now, as well as engaging during city council meetings, discussing the district and the plans that they have. I also know Mike Miller and Wally Webster and hope that when all of this settles, we will continue to enjoy the friendship that we have between us. That being said, I'm going to give you some very direct feedback. The handling of Vivian Dong's position on the board and the vote of no confidence and the meeting in which that vote was taken were all very poorly done. There are many ways to have handled this that would have had much better outcomes. The PFD has had many individuals speak this evening and on other evenings and other meetings in support of their actions. However, very few of those are from the Lynnwood community. Most of the individuals who spoke on behalf of the PFD have some form of benefit from their relationship with the PFD. They might work for the PFD, or they might be hired by the PFD to perform work, marketing, and those types of things. Conversely, we've heard from a multitude of community members about how poorly they view the board actions. The people who live here, the residents of Lynnwood, have spoken not only in this meeting, but via email, and I'm going to share some excerpts since George wanted to read from the state today. I continue to be concerned that the PFD has not moved more rapidly on the requests for information and attempts to review the financial statements. I understand the rationale provided by the PFD that they are short-staffed, and that keeps them from being able to respond in a timely manner. I think that is a very valid point. However, I think the board has to agree that these delays can be easily viewed as by a distrustful public as stonewalling. Given the negative perception by the public regarding the PFD, as evidenced by public comment today, during previous meetings, and in emails sent to the council, it is in the interest of the city of Lynnwood that we begin restoring trust in the PFD and provide those documents that have been requested as quickly as possible is the best way to begin restoring that confidence. To do contrary, that is to not quickly fulfill those requests, will contribute to the continued lack of trust and confidence in the PFD, which is bad for business. I'm curious also, we heard this evening, that the PFD could have provided financial records to Vivian at any particular time without her having to go through the public records request. If that was the case, why wasn't that simply solved quite some time ago by simply sending the records to her that she had asked for or meeting with her so that she could see those records? Was she not aware that you could simply provide those to her? Was she not aware that she had this recourse as a board member? How was she not made aware of that, and why was that not suggested as a solution to her request for information? The position put forward by the PFD board is that Vivian costs the city money and she is bad for business because she supports the rights of a business in Lynnwood to exercise their religious beliefs in how they run their business. At its core, that is what the disagreement is. While the proprietor of the business has stated, and is very clear, he was not in favor of the demonstrations or counter-demonstrations. He has made that very, very clear. However, he has also made it clear he feels his constitutional rights were violated. And, as we just heard, he is considering taking it to the United States Supreme Court. While the state Supreme Court sided against his religious freedoms, were this to go to the U.S. Supreme Court, I'm confident the state opinion would be overruled based on the many recent opinions provided by the U.S. Supreme Court over the last year or two protecting free exercise of religious freedoms. I can cite the Masterpiece Cake Shop versus Colorado Civil Rights Commission. Very clear the Supreme Court ruled that the Colorado Civil Rights Commissions acted inappropriately when they, it reads, the Colorado Civil Rights Commission evaluated the case under the state's anti-discrimination law, the Colorado Anti-Discrimination Act. The commission found the bakery had discriminated against the couple and issued specific orders for the bakery. However, in a 7-2 decision, the Supreme Court ruled that the commission did not employ religious neutrality. They violated the Masterpiece owner Jack Phillips' rights to free exercise, and they reversed the commission's decision. So there are U.S. versus Alvarez, Forsyth County versus the Nationalist Movement, Bethel School District versus Fraser. Over and over again, we are seeing that the Supreme Court is defending people's rights to exercise their religion when it comes to their business and how they want to run their business. The Cornell website states, "The right to freedom of speech allows individuals to express themselves without government interference or regulation. That is a core fundamental right of this nation. That is what we have fought wars for, is to protect those rights. The Supreme Court has held strongly to the view that our nation believes in the public exchange of ideas and open debate, and that the correct response to offensive speech, or to speech that you find to be offensive, is to speak in response. It's not to censor. It's not to prevent such speech. It is for us to speak in response and opposition to speech that we find offensive." The Human Rights Watch, you're probably well aware of that organization, they have stated, and all of us should consider this personally, freedom of speech is a bellwether. How any society, or in my view, how any person tolerates those with minority, disfavored, or even obnoxious views will often speak to their performance on human rights generally. The more you are able to tolerate views that are different and disparate from yours is a statement on how you view human rights generally. So how does this apply to the city of Lynnwood? First, Janet Pope and legal counsel approved Vivian attending the demonstration in support of Olympic Spa. I think this has been agreed to by everyone. Second, the demonstration and counter-demonstration would have occurred with or without Vivian's participation. We have testimony that she was not the organizer of the demonstration in support of Olympic Spa. She may have amplified the event, but she was not the organizer. The event would have occurred with or without her amplification. Beyond that, such amplification is well within her right to freedom of speech. Laying those costs that have been suggested by the PFD on Vivian is disingenuous at best, and statements to that effect clearly are an attempt to gaslight the public. I really struggle to understand how, whatever those costs were, those are or should be Vivian's responsibility. Costs were incurred, but it wasn't a rally or demonstration that she organized. It is one that she amplified. There was discussion this evening, which just is ludicrous, discussion about body armor, backpacks, etc., are named in proximity to Vivian's name. Really? Is someone really trying to say that Vivian organized a protest where people were wearing body armor, where they were bringing backpacks and laying them around the facilities for some reason? Trying to tie that to Vivian? Again, it is just pure gaslighting. It's very shallow. It was an attack that was completely without merit. Third, the position of the board is that Vivian is bad for business, bad for Lynnwood's business, bad for the PFD business. It could cost Lynnwood money. However, Lynnwood is about putting people first, defending the rights of the people, especially if we disagree with the opinions of those people. That is what it means to be inclusive. People over profits is our hallmark. Conversely, the PFD is arguing that profits over people is their position and that Vivian needs to be removed from the board because they claim she cost the PFD business money and she's bad for business. I think we all remember dark times in our history when businesses said someone was not welcome. They were excluded from activities because they were bad for business. The number of community comments supporting Vivian and excoriating the board are significant. Here are several quotes from those emails. These are all public record. These are all emails that we've received. These are harsh, and I apologize for that, but these deserve to be heard as part of this meeting. This is public feedback for us and for the PFD. I want to call out Board Chair Mike Miller and Executive Director Janet Pope for the hostile, demeaning, and discriminatory workplace they have created. To be blunt, Mike Miller should be removed from the board and Janet Pope should be fired. Another, I am thoroughly appalled and disgusted by the bullying treatment and mental abuse of appointed Lynnwood PFD Board Commissioner Vivian Dong. Janet Pope and Mike Miller's actions and comments were not just inappropriate, they were disrespectful and racist toward Vivian. I was at the event and witnessed it all. Mr. Miller's behavior was downright unprofessional. Another, I'm completely disgusted by the bullying and abusive behavior from Miller and Pope. They pretend to stand for diversity and community care, but then they bully an Asian woman just because she doesn't align with them. Another, It also should be noted that the security precautions and resulting expenses surrounding the rally were because the expected counter-protesters were known to be violent and destructive, etc. Now, you can say the PFD is misunderstood, that the PFD actions were well-intentioned. However, for an entity like the PFD, perception is reality, and public sentiment is not favorable towards the PFD at this point. We keep hearing that Olympus Spa was not in favor of the protest, but it should also be said they were not in favor of being forced to operate in a manner which was in conflict with their religious beliefs. This is where the conflict began. They have been forced to run their business in a way that is in direct violation of their religious beliefs. Religious beliefs and freedom of religion is a core, fundamental part of our nation. That is part of why we came here and formed a nation, so that we could exercise our religious freedoms. If Lynnwood is to be truly a model of inclusivity, we need to be inclusive of all. We don't get to be just inclusive of those who share our political or religious beliefs. A couple of quotes from you from a very famous person. President Obama said, "If we're going to succeed, we have to figure out how to work together. It has to happen in our communities and in our neighborhoods and in our schools. And it has to happen in our business and our military. And that has to happen in our politics. And some people get uncomfortable with it. Businesses," he says, "thrive on diversity of thought. Hive mentality does not drive good business." Bill Clinton said, "We all do better when we work together. Our differences do matter, but our common humanity matters more." I'll finish by saying our city and community will thrive when we have diversity of thought, not when we seek to force everyone to think the same way we do. Celebrate our commonality. Celebrate our diversity. Celebrate our community. Don't be divisive. Don't be exclusionary. Strive to be inclusive, whether you agree with the alternative viewpoint or not. There is room in society for all to have and share their views, even if you disagree with them. I don't see cause to remove Vivian from the board and ask the council to vote her back to her position on the Public Facilities Board. I agree with Councilmember Smith. We should vote both Vivian and Mike back onto the board. They both can continue to do great work there, and they can help the PFD grow. They can help our community grow. We can all learn from this episode in Lynnwood's history. Let's put the matter behind us, fully seat the board, ask the board to get back to the business supporting our Lynnwood community, both our business and our residents. Thank you.
Councilmember Benda.